Okay, today it's going to be a rough day. We are going to be going into the field, into the battlefield. Even I need to wear my proper equipment today because it's going to be tough. I want you to watch each other's backs, fronts, and sides. You need to keep your head up and down and look all around because we're going to be under some hot and heavy fire. Today we're going to be subtracting integers, and I don't want you to be ACLB, a child left behind. Sometimes this can get a little tricky when we're subtracting because there's several different situations that can arise when we are subtracting integers. I'm going to go over each of those particular situations, and then I'm going to give you some practice work at the end. I'm also going to, at the end of this video, this episode, I am going to go over a few points, key points and things that I hope you notice as I go through this episode about subtracting integers and some little tricks and hints that you can use to help you simplify these expressions involving integers. So, make sure you're dressed appropriately and that you're at full attention, and Godspeed to everyone. And once again, I cannot express to you enough what this means. Each green soldier has a value of +1. Each red soldier has a value of -1. And together, these two soldiers eliminate one another. They make 0. It's called a zero pair. Okay, now I'm going to start with a very basic example of subtracting integers. Here I have 5 positive soldiers. If I wanted to take away 2 positive soldiers, would I be able to do so? Yes, I would. So I have 5 positive and I want to take away 2 positive. They've been discharged. Honorably, of course. What am I left with? 3. +3. So 5 minus 2 equals 3. Example number 2. Now this example is going to get a little more difficult. Here I have 5 positive soldiers. Well, I need to discharge 6 soldiers. Well, if I'm their commander, I have no way to discharge 6 soldiers. I need to send 6 back home, but I can't only have 5. So can you think of anything that we could do so that we could obtain the 6 positive soldiers we need? And a hint would be 0 pairs. Okay, now, hopefully when I said 0 pairs, you thought, okay, maybe I could bring in 1 positive soldier and 1 negative soldier. If I have 1 positive soldier with 1 negative soldier, their value or how much they're worth is 0. I just brought in a value of 0. And by doing that, I now have 6 positive soldiers I can send home. So, I brought in a 0 pair, which allowed me to have the 6 that I need to send home. Now I can send home 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I started with 5, a +5. I subtracted 6. And what am I left with? -1. Not really sure that I want to be left with the negative soldier. Maybe he's the one that should have been discharged. Here in this squad, I have a total of 8 troops, 8 positive troops. I've been told that I need to discharge or get rid of 10 positive troops. How am I going to get rid of 10 positive troops if I only have 8? Well, that means I need 2 more troops to get rid of. So that means I need to recruit 2 0 pairs. So I'm going to recruit 2 0 pairs. Here's 1 and 2. I just recruited 2 0 pairs. Now I have enough. I can take away 10. Positive 10. Take away 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm left with 2 negative soldiers. So what I have just shown you is that 8 minus 10 equals negative 2. Here we go with a different example this time. I've got some negative soldiers I've brought in. I have 7 negative soldiers, so I have negative 7. I've been instructed to take away 3, positive 3. Well, I don't have positive 3. How can I get positive 3? Well, I can add 0 pairs. So I need to add as many 0 pairs as I need to get a positive 3. So if I put in 1 0 pair, well, I have 1 soldier I can take out. Put in 2 0 pairs. Well, I need 1 more soldier I can take out, 1 more positive soldier. And there's 3 0 pairs. So I just brought in 3 0 pairs. I have enough that I can take away 3 positive soldiers now. So I'm going to discharge 3 positive soldiers. Now, what's left in my squad here? 10 negatives. So what I have just modeled or shown you is that negative 7 minus 3 is equal to negative 10. Okay, here's another example when I begin with a negative integer, and then I need to take away positive integer, or a positive integer. Having trouble talking today. Now, in this case, I would like to take away 5 soldiers. Well, I don't have 5 positive soldiers. I have 6 negative soldiers. So again, I'm going to have to recruit. So I'm going to recruit some 0 pairs until I have enough to take away 5. Now I have 3 positive soldiers, 4 positive soldiers, and 5 positive soldiers. Many of them are about face here. But now I can take away the 5 I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I just took 5 away. What am I left with? I'm left with 11 negative soldiers, or negative 11. So, negative 6 minus 5 equals negative 11. Now, in this case, I have 6 positive soldiers. I have been instructed to subtract 8 negative soldiers. Again, I don't have 8 negative soldiers, so I'm going to need to recruit until I do. And I can do that by adding 0 pairs, because 0 pairs allows me to do this without adding anything to my group. So, I'm going to add 0 pairs until I have 8 negative soldiers. I have now added 8 0 pairs. That's going to allow me to now subtract 8 negatives. I'm left with all positives. In fact, I'm left with positive 14. I have 14 positive soldiers left. Here I have 1 positive soldier. I am going to subtract 5 negative soldiers. So again, I'm going to recruit some 0 pairs. And I need enough 0 pairs so that I have 5 negative soldiers to remove or take out. I can now remove 5 negatives. And what am I left with? I'm left with 6. So 1 minus negative 5 equals positive 6. Now this situation is just mildly different than the previous 2 examples. In this case, I have 7 negative soldiers, and I've been instructed to take away 2 negative soldiers. Can I take away 2 negative soldiers? Do I have that here in this group, in this squad? Well, yes. I don't need to put or add 0 pairs to this group because I have enough negative soldiers that I can take them away. So from my 7 negatives, I'm going to take away 2 negatives. And I'm done. -7 minus -2 equals -5. Now in this group, I have 12 negative soldiers. I need to take away 10 negatives. Do I have enough soldiers that I could take away 10 negative soldiers? Yes, I does. So I am going to take away 10 negatives. 6 negatives, 9 negatives, 10 negatives. I'm left with -2. So -12 minus -10 equals -2. This time I have 3 negative soldiers. I would like to take away 5 negative soldiers. In other words, I have -3 and I want to subtract -5. Well, I can't take away 5 negative soldiers because I don't have them. So guess what we have to do? We have to recruit 0 pairs once again. So let's do our 0 pairs. Do I have enough using my 0 pairs that I could take away 5 negative soldiers? Yes, I do. So I'm going to take away my 5 negative soldiers, which is the best thing we can do for our country. And we end up with +2. So -3 minus -5 equals +2. Okay, one of the things that I was hoping that you would notice, and if you didn't, it's okay, I'm telling you now, is that whenever you're subtracting a larger integer from a smaller integer, the answer will always be negative. Kind of like if you remember in elementary school when your teacher would tell you that you cannot take a larger number away from a smaller number, such as you can do 6 minus 5, but you can't do 5 minus 6. Well, that's untrue if that's what they told you. That's not actually true. You can. And it's dealing with negative values. So if the number that you're subtracting is larger than the number that you begin with, or you're subtracting it from, the answer will always be negative. Something else I was hoping you would notice is that anytime you are subtracting a negative, it's the exact same thing as addition. And it's kind of in the wording when we say it. When you see a minus sign, you think of take away. Well, that take away is taking away a negative. If you take away a negative, then it becomes positive. So that's one way maybe you can think of it. So if you're taking away a -3 from something, then you're really adding 3 because you're taking away the negative of 3 and it becomes +3. Okay, here's a situation where I mentioned that you're taking away a larger number than you're starting with. So 15 is larger than 10. Anytime you're taking a larger number away from a smaller number, the answer has to be negative. So when we simplify this down, we're going to get a negative answer. Now, what I usually tell my students is to kind of box off my numbers here. Box off the numbers. And in this case, box off the sign that is with each number to its left. There's no sign to the left of my 10, so it's automatically considered positive. There is a sign with my 15, and that's negative. Now, we can kind of go back to what I mentioned before in one of my other videos. How many positives do we have? We have 10 positives. How many negatives do we have? We have 15 negatives. Who wins? Well, the negatives are going to win. There's more negatives in this box than there are positives in this box. There are 5 more negatives than there are positives. So my answer would be -5. And I'll show you another example. So, again, box off. How many positives? 5. How many negatives? 10. Negatives will win. We have 5 more negatives than we do positives. So, again, my answer here would also be -5. Here's another example. what I would do is tell you to box off the integer in front and then box off the next integer. These are both negative. How many negatives are in this box? 8. And there's 5 negatives in this box. So if I have 8 negatives in this box and I have 5 negatives in this box, I have 13 negatives altogether. One more example like this. Box off my first integer and my next integer. I have 6 negatives in this box. I have 10 negatives in this box. Altogether, I have 16 negatives. Now, in this example, we're subtracting a negative, which I told you when you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. Also, I have a method that I have created for my students, and I call it the ET method. And it's because what I do is I tell them anytime they see a subtracting and a negative together beside each other in the same expression, to circle it, draw an arrow, bring it down, and change it to plus, addition. Kind of looks like E.T.'s head with his little arms sticking up here. Anyway, that's one of the methods that I use for my kids to know when to change a subtracting negative to a positive. So in this case, instead of subtracting -7, we're doing actually 4 plus 7, which will equal 11. So go ET on them. Now here's another similar situation, except this time I put parentheses around my -6. A lot of times this is the way we will write expressions involving integers, just because we want to separate the operation sign here from the sign that's with the number. So in this case, it's the same as 12 minus -6. It's no order of operations to do or anything like that. It's just simply subtracting a negative number, and you're separating the subtraction sign with the negative sign using parentheses. In this case, we can still go ET. Bring the subtracting negative signs down, change them to plus. Now we just bring down our numbers that we have in the problem. And 12 plus 6 equals 18.